This episode is sponsored by Audible. Have you ever felt alone? Truly alone, even when there are people around you, when having drinks with friends, when out with your family, in your classroom, in your office, or in public. Why do I feel alone? Not always, of course. Sometimes I get carried away like everyone else. But I do feel it frequently. I've questioned myself extensively on why I feel alone. I've come to the conclusion that it is because of my view. Not my opinion on things, but the view from where I stand. What is my view? I see the bridge of my nose. Only then I see the world. No matter where I turn, I see the bridge of my nose. No one in this universe shares this view with me. In that sense, I am truly alone. I have watched 2001: A Space Odyssey more than 5 times at various stages of my life. I've read the book twice. Something about this film stands out every time I watch it. I first watched it when I was in my second year in college. I watched it recently about 3 weeks ago. It stood out to me then, and it stands out now. The film starts with a panoramic view of somewhere in prehistoric Africa. A tribe of hominids fight for their place and their access to the water. Later, this one hominin, in his book Arthur C. Clarke call him the Moon Watcher, looks bewildered to find an alien monolith that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. It stands indifferently. We only spend a few minutes with the Moon Watcher in the film, but we get to explore Moon Watcher's internal world in the book. We learn about his premature intelligence and the isolation he feels, even when living among his tribe. Millions of years later, we follow Dr. Heywood Floyd on his journey to a less explored outpost on the moon. We know very little about Dr. Floyd. What minimal interaction we see him have with his colleagues and peers is professional and almost surgical. We see a brief video call with his daughter who's about to celebrate her birthday.
Okay, sweetheart. Now have a nice birthday tomorrow. And have a nice birthday party tomorrow, too, huh?
But yet again, we don't feel any warmth in the relationship. Floyd is cold and clinical. Then we see him witness the monolith, which is standing and waiting eerily in the dark part of the moon. 18 months later, we follow the spacecraft Discovery 1 on its way to Jupiter, Saturn in the book. On board the ship are Dr. David Bowman and Dr. Frank Poole, along with 3 other scientists in suspended animation. Then there's HAL 9000, an artificial intelligence system that controls almost all of the day-to-day operations of the ship. HAL has a human personality. Kubrick deliberately strips off any meaningful human interaction throughout the whole film. Even on board the ship, we never get a sense of just who David Bowman and Frank Poole are as people. The dialogues between them are always functional, cold, and clinical. Even when Frank talks to his parents on his birthday, he seems utterly removed and uninterested.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Ironically, the character who's most human and most relatable in its fear and insecurity is HAL, a computer.
Happy birthday, Frank.
Thank you, Hal. Bit flatter, please.
2001 has a wide array of poignant themes. It touches upon human evolution, technological evolution, the possibility that we might not be alone in this universe, and the ever-evasive question, what it means to be human. But there's a sense of isolation and a certain quality of aloneness throughout the whole film. While I greatly appreciate all the other thematic elements in the story, I'm haunted by its portrayal of isolation. One of the most striking scenes in the film, for me, is when Hall murders Frank Poole. The whole set of scenes leading up to his death is breathtakingly claustrophobic. The fact that the whole scene is layered only with Frank breathing through his helmet makes it that much more terrifying. When I saw for the first time Frank spinning and floating through the endless dark space, I felt a pang in my chest. I recognized that feeling of drifting through an endless void. That might also be why I have a fear of the dark ocean. Whenever I fly over the sea at nighttime, I always have this thought: how would I feel if I'm stuck in the middle of the ocean on a cloudy night? 2001: A Space Odyssey always evokes this specific feeling within me. The feeling of this strange isolation gets exponentially expanded during the final moments of the film, when David Bowman finds himself in an abandoned neoclassical bedroom after being pulled into a vortex and carried across vast distances of space. There he spends minutes, days, years. Older versions of David Bowman appear content, quietly accepting this fate and waiting for the inevitable. For me, 2001: A Space Odyssey is a harrowing illustration of my existential isolation. It's a grim reminder that we might be forever alone in this indifferent universe. I also find that this feeling of aloneness is always countered by my need to connect. I can't speak for other people, but I can tell from my own experience that despite of this unshakable feeling of aloneness, I crave to connect with people. But I have also put up walls within myself so as not to get hurt or not to be vulnerable. It gets even layered. Until a few years ago, whenever I watch this film, I go to bed with this expansive but empty feeling of aloneness. But lately, I have surrounded myself with people with whom I can talk about this feeling of expansive isolation without having to worry about deterring them off. I was also surprised to find out that these thoughts of isolation, loneliness, and aloneness are not unique to me. I have now people in my life with whom I can joke about feeling alone over drinks. Ironically, I have connected and bonded with people over 2001: A Space Odyssey and the feeling of isolation it exudes. I know I'm alone, but I feel less lonely thanks to Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke. If you haven't read 2001: A Space Odyssey yet, you are in for a treat. I would even dare to say that I like the book more than the film. There's also 2010, 2061, and 3001: The Final Odyssey. These books, especially 2001, gifted me with a vivid, expansive spiritual experience. If you like the existential themes that I touch upon in this channel, then you shouldn't miss these books. You can download the first audiobook or any audiobook of your choice if you go to audibletrial.com/Northern Diaries. Link is also in the description below. You also get a 30-day free trial membership, which you can cancel anytime, no obligations. Audible is home to more than 200,000 audiobooks, podcasts, and original series. What is your favorite science fiction movie of all time and why? Leave a comment below and let's discuss. Check out my channel for more videos like this, and here's a link to one of my recent videos about how social media and news affect your daily life. As always, if you like what you saw, share and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified anytime I post a new video. I also have a Patreon page where you can support this channel by donating anywhere from just $1. I sincerely thank all of my awesome Patreon supporters. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.